Hi. So we have talked in the past how the case of Feras Naser is not associated with the past. It's associated with the present and the future. It's about determining what young people can become and who they can become in the future. So what has happened recently is something related to the future of innovation. Recently, we have developed a GPT system called Cocreation GPT. And we have connected this system to a database that is associated with people traits and with some of the information about their needs and expectations. The aim of this system is to answer questions such as, who is the best team member that I can be working with on a certain project? Or who is the best person to hang out with in the evening? So there is these questions that you can have continuous and instant answers based on these questions. Now, while we are connecting the database to a paid account of ChatGPT, our paid account, the APIs suddenly stopped working. And without I go further to this restriction on innovation, I want to tell you about that innovation happens on the edges. As Juventus said, innovation happens on the edges. Apps happen on top of smartphones. Data and algorithms happen on top of apps. AI systems happen on top of data and AI algorithms. And finally, co-creation AI systems happen on top of AI systems such as ChatGPT. This will be a revolution because it will automate how we make groups, how we make networks, how we find people that are compatible with us, and how we can work on building value and building valuable projects. Now, that is being said, we have been faced with a restriction on this innovation that the APIs that we connected the database to ChatGPT stopped working suddenly and without any further notice. Also, before we had our email, that is a paid email with Google, stopped being responsive. So we sent thousands of emails to several people and we get very, very minimal response, or we don't get any engagement at all. And this shows how these new innovations are being faced with significant restrictions. Now, what is important also to note that this is not the first time. And because it's not the first time, we should be talking about intellectual theft. These innovations, the co-creation GPT, did not happen in a vacuum. It happened because there was a continuous effort to build a discipline called the co-creation discipline. We have built the ecosystem, we have organized the workshops, we have written books about this new vision of an innovation ecosystem called co-creation, and suddenly we started to have these innovations on top of this layer of knowledge. So this is exactly the same as creating medical imaging technology after the discovery of X-rays, or the creation of camera after the discovery of optics by Al-Hassan ibn al-Haytham. So there is a moral value for this creation that is associated with Feras Naser and associated with our human history, the history of the people of this region or people around the world. So this is why it's important for Feras Naser case to see the light. It's a human heritage. It's part of our history, of our human history. Where were Feras Naser? Where were the Jordanians? Where were the Arabs? Where were the Palestinians? Where were the Muslims? Where were people that part of this region? Where were Feras Naser during this digital revolution? And this part of human history should be recorded. And I mean it should be recorded because it is part of our heritage as humans, and it's part of our history and part of the development of civilizations. So today, the case of Feras Naser is with the United Nations. It was delivered to more than 10,000 human rights workers, and nothing tangible has happened. But also, it's important to note this is not the first time. Feras Naser has developed innovation in drone technology. in railway infrastructure inspection systems. He talked about the idea of ChatGPT before ChatGPT, talking about a BERT system for collecting railway experts' knowledge. He also developed motivating young people with digital assets as a way of learning. So this is fundamentally important, and whenever we try to develop a new system or whenever we try to develop a new idea, we are being faced with extreme restrictions. So this led me to tell you a little bit about the American stories, and you see how the difference between our stories and the American stories. So they say Mark Zuckerberg was 18 years old when Peter Thiel handed him $500,000 or $500,000 to develop Facebook. They say Bill Gates presented a flawless prototype to a company which led to the development of Microsoft. And Elon Musk got a contract, a $10 billion contract from NASA. J.K. Rowling was poor before becoming famous and the famous writer of Harry Potter. Unfortunately, these stories did not happen in my case. I have met more powerful people and much richer than Peter Thiel. We have presented our ideas to serious investors and serious powerful people in the world, and it did not work. So we really need to dig down and see what's going on. So why this is important? It's important that we record the historical facts as part of the human heritage, and it's important that we record as a historical fact that Feras Naser was the founder of the co-creation movement. He talked about co-creation in its current form. He talked about the co-creation ecosystem in its current understanding. He has his own version of looking on what is co-creation. And it's important that we find a way to give him access to justice, and it's important that he get the compensation. So what we should expect? So companies such as OpenAI or Facebook are technology sovereign security companies. They are really more important than the President of the United States or than the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. They are very important innovations that many people are using, and they can impact the lives of many. So this is how we should look at Feras Naser. So we should look at someone that can create technology companies, sovereign technology companies that can impact the economy of the country. And he has done that with social isolation, with economical restrictions, with state actors targeting. So we expect a compensation. It will be in hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions. But we need this freedom. We need to just work normally, have normal students, develop things as any other human being, and carry on with life normally. Now, group of notes. Sometimes I get the feeling that some people are not able to realize and not able to comprehend that Feras Naser should be or expected to be more powerful than they are. And this is the story of innovators. You invent something and you become more powerful. This is the story of Mark Zuckerberg after Facebook, the story of Bill Gates after Microsoft. So this is how the world works. So if you do not accept this, basically this is because you can't accept innovators, and basically you can't accept that, I don't know, sometimes you feel there is a deep sense of fear and a deep sense of inferiority, and it might be an exaggeration, but sometimes it's a fact. You feel that feeling that this person is afraid that you become more powerful. So what is important that we protect the human capital, the human intellectual capital, and we include this case in the history of our humanity, in the history of the world. So this should be written in history books. Stand with justice, spread the word, and Feras Naser will be free. Thank you.